I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are y'all doing today, man? How are you doing on this wonderful Sunday? Wonderful Sunday. I wanted to stop in for a minute, man, and for this afternoon, and before we get for a lot of things, a lot of my fellow content creators get cranked up. A lot of them gotten cranked up on a very good football game that I got a chance to see it in its entirety today. Yesterday I was dealing with a wedding, so I didn't get a chance to see from the start, but I got some decided to see the game. I saw the game at the end, the second half. I came in on the second half of the game when I got back from stuff, and it was very, 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 very cool to see the Cowboys getting their first preseason game. We hadn't run a opening preseason game since probably 2017. So we're going to talk about some things today. As the title had said, we're going to put the title back up on the page on the screen because the title is very important. Understanding the title is going to be probably the most important part of this video. Is understanding the title that we have here and what this title means of this show. Because if we understand the title, you'll understand where we're trying to go with this show. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of stuff that's being said about some very good performances we had. There's some things that sometimes we have to be very cautious about. There's some things that we need to be very, very excited about. As I said on my show last time, we need to be excited. We need to get behind this team and be excited about every little thing that we see because we need to be, if some people say that we are being over hyping and overconfident in things, we need that because that confidence, you can see some of that confidence from the first scrimmage and the hype of that first scrimmage. You can see it bleeding into this first preseason game. But we also have to have the coaches have to have a thumb on their temperature gauge of their team to say, yes, we want you to be confident, but also we want you to continue to understand that there's a lot of work to do so we can become a consistent football team. It's wonderful that we had this good preseason game. We got a day off probably today. We go right back to practice on tomorrow, and then right on into Tuesday with another scrimmage with another team. That's a very good schedule, and that gets the starters back on the field, back getting some work in, and as well as looking at their counterparts, their backups do so well. Now it behooves them to be the next people up to continue to keep the momentum going when we scrimmage the Saints. So it's very important. So in this title that I have is preseason game 1. Thoughts, team intangibles. You know, some people don't understand what team is. When we talk about team intangibles, excuse me, when we talk about team intangibles, if you reflect back to one of my shows before about when I talked about how important intangibles are to a football program or to anything, the intangible things, the things that are not physical. not in a physical form, but give you things that give you a competitive advantage. These are things that we consider with the tangibles is probably the uh uh the mental compass, mental fortitude of a team, uh how they go about things, their thought process. These are what we call intangibles. And if you look at our team, we are building some good team intangibles that we saw that was coming from the scrimmage into this first preseason game. There's some intangibles that are being built. And I really believe that now we're starting to see the influx of the culture. See, all things are still built upon. When you're trying to build a great football team, this is still building from last year. Now it might not seem like that where you got what you want, but you start to see a build of the culture from last year or what we talked about that we had to build. And we're building a culture now. It's getting set in stone, and that culture is being built in. And that's these intangibles that we have. We had some very key team intangibles that was built in. There was a interview I did. I don't like to listen to Jerry Jones interviews, but I did hear him in his interview before the game because I recorded everything. And this has been a lot of talk about the Michael Parsons trade. Did we win the trade? We not win the trade. I don't understand why we even talking about that. There's no in it, and I don't even understand why people even have a doubt that the trade was a win for the Cowboys. It would be. We could have some discussion about it, and I'm gonna say this one thing. And I'm gonna leave it alone. It could be some discussion about it if Michael Parsons never got hurt. And I'm not glad he got hurt, but he did. And what would we feel if we would have been sitting here and he would have got hurt in the last part of the season, and knowing he might be out for the next half of the season after we paid him, and knowing that he's a speed guy, and you never know how guys come off of those type of injuries when they're a speed based type of guy. How would we be feeling? So, regardless of if you hurt or not, no, you're not wishing nobody got hurt. You're not glad he got no hurt, but he did. And for that reason alone, it was a win. If you ain't got to go no farther than that. I know y'all might say that's a cheap way of thinking about it, but that's true. Because we will be very disappointed and we'll be very anxious to saying, oh, we lost him during the season. We don't know if we're going to get him back to half of next season. And then we got to go through the point of saying maybe it's going to take him a year to get himself back. Duh. Same instance and it's crazy. We might be going down the same road that we went down. We would have been going down the same road that we went down with Diggs. Sign him a contract. Shortly after that, he goes down with an injury. It takes him a year to come back, and then we still got some hiccups there because we don't know how guys are going to return from injury. So it's a no brainer that we won just because of that. But for anybody to argue different, I don't even understand that. If you argue different, you're arguing hypothetically if Michael Parsons don't get hurt. And that's a crazy argument because the fact is he is. So, but Jerry said something about shaking stuff up. And I think some people looked at that and said, well, Jerry, about to make a move. He was very cautious not to talk about making a move. I believe, see, our fan base wants a move. And I'm gonna say something that a lot of people not gonna like, but I really do think it's true. But Jerry is thinking about his coaching staff and what they're thinking. You would be if it's almost like in any business. If your business can tell you that, hey man, I like what we got here. I like the equipment we got here. Yeah, it might be this, but we could probably make this some very good. We can turn this and make something great. I don't think you would say, oh well, let me go spend another $1 trillion because you said you could make it work. I just don't think. I think he's listening to the team and he likes what he sees. But he said we needed a shakeup, and I think he was talking about, and it was what I took from that when he's talking about you need to shock the world and shock things and have a big shakeup. And he said that's what we did when we did with our defensive coaching staff. What's so interesting to me that made me sit up and listen to that part was finally, Jerry, for 30 years. See, a lot of people ain't gonna understand this. For 30 years, Jerry, you have stood 10 toes down on what you said about Jimmy Johnson on that infamous day after we won 2 Super Bowls back to back when you got all liquored up at the NFL meetings. When you was all liquored up and you said with the talent you got on this team, you can have 100 guys come and get it to the Super Bowl and win with it. You have stood 10 toes down, Jerry, on that philosophy saying, the only thing I do is get some guys and put some talent here, and I don't need no coaches. I can get enough talent and I can get anybody to coach. You have stood 10 toes down on that. And when Barry Switzer won that championship in the NFL, when they won that Super Bowl, Barry Switzer got up there and say, did we do it, Jerry? We did it our way. Because you told him that then when you hired him. I got enough talent. Only thing you got to do is steer. No, we can get there because I'll make sure I have enough talent. And you'll find out it takes a mixture of the right coaches and the right players to be dominant like you were before. Now you might can live off the dominance that Jimmy built and the intangibles that Jimmy built and put on this football team. But you're only gonna live on that for a short period of time. And the Cowboys talked about in that last Super Bowl winning season they had, when you had the sounds of the game, or we know that thing they put together, which you could learn a lot. They said they were leaking oil at the finish line of that last Super Bowl championship. And they already knew at that championship that their play was going downhill because Barry didn't keep the same standards from the others that Jimmy did. And it's very remarkable to me that now you talk about it needs to be a shock factor in the coaching staff to shock things, to turn things up. We need somebody to come in and like an earthquake and shake things up. I've been telling you that for 30 years, Jerry. I've been telling you that for 30 years. And this type of environment with the Cowboys, you got to have people that come in with a shock value. They're going to allow them to be Hollywood. We're going to be always in the spotlight. But when it comes to football, they are no nonsense guys. I'll tell you that for the longest. We're in the heart of the jungle when it comes to distractions for a football team. I've been saying that for a while. But it's very interesting that comment leads to thinking in that nature. That's why I really feel at this point in time, unless they really are pushed, let this coaching staff say we really need it. I just think they dangling that carrot in front of y'all for y'all just to talk. And every time they go out and have a good performance, they just shake their head and say, we're going to keep the course. That's why I tell y'all to jump on the course. But I thought that was very interesting that you made that quote, Jerry, because the shock value of a good coaching staff, that are teachers, that are grinders, that's what this team always needed. Always in Dallas, because we always been on the front stage of the news. Whatever the news source is, whatever the hype is, we always been the front page. From the 70s all the way to now, we always been the front page. And when it comes to distractions, we have always had them surrounding us like the jungle. But we need an iron high, smart, very particular type of guys to keep the focus. And the main thing. And that's what he finally felt like he got his defensive staff. But I thought that was very interesting. And I wanted to touch upon that. But as I said, we build some intangibles because I see what he's talking about with Mr. Coach Parker. It's something else that's very interesting, and I don't think a lot of people picked up on it. We need to pick up on it. And a lot of my counterparts don't pick up on it. Schottenheimer said in his after their first scrimmage, and he keep echoing this stuff. See, the things that they keep echoing, we act like we don't hear these things, but they are key points of what they're trying to push over to the football team. And if we get on board with hearing that stuff and understanding what they're talking about, then we'll cut down on some of the stuff we're talking about going against the grain, and we'll get on the grain and say, hey, let's promote what they're trying to get. Is that what they feel? That's where they're going to get. Teaching, smartness, play style. You keep hearing that. Schottenheimer talked about, I like the way our defense getting into our play style. This has been talked about. This was talked about in the interview when he had. Schottenheimer did not like our play style that we played with last year. I didn't like our play style that we played with last year. It was a very timid. It was a non-physical. It was a non-football high IQ play style. It looks like it was looking like and listen, some people talk about like if Michael Parsons was here, he was gonna save the day. We was gonna be this with Michael Parsons, we were gonna be better. We were gonna be just as bad. Guarantee it. Because you bring Michael Parsons back and you take away Quentin Williams, because you wouldn't have had him. You take away Clark, you wouldn't have had him. Those two negative factors will make Michael Parsons' day even worse. But the play style, and he understands when you get to your play style and it becomes second nature and it becomes your part of your play style, that is a cultural piece. That's an intangible. Yes, you say, well, coach, no play style, that must be physical. No, there's a mentality of how we play. The intangible of the mentality of how we play permeates through from the first unit to the fifth or sixth string. And you want to know how I know that intangible is being built and how I'm starting to see it? Because when you was in your scrimmage the other day, they kept rotating the first string. They would do certain plays in the second string. They would run certain amounts of plays in the third string. And we had a consistent play from all three strings. Then we go into this preseason game. We saw the same level of effort, the same tackling ability, the same physicality from first group all the way to the last part of the game. It might not be as good or it might have been better because of certain players, but when you have the consistency, that means that you're building a culture of how we do things. And it makes no difference. It might be done a little bit better because it might be a first string. It might be some more bigger plays might be done because it might be a better better player. But the way we play is consistent from the top to the bottom. That's important, people. That's more important than Max Cost. Now I'm gonna say, now somebody goes, oh no, that is more important than any one great player on a football team. That cultural piece right there. If you start to see that, that's how great teams can have injuries. Because see, we can talk about getting players, but we have to be able to deal with injuries. That's how teams can have injuries and still be playoff teams and still have a chance to win it till a guy maybe gets back. That's how a team that always stays competitive and always stays at the top, regardless of of what they go through. I don't like talking about this team a lot, but I talk about San Francisco. They had a very good season last year. They lost their greatest pass rusher out for the season. They lost their greatest one of the best middle linebackers in the football, and they still got to the playoffs. Now, were they good as they know? Were their defense as good without them that they was with them? No, but it was good enough to lose their quarterback for a multitude of games. To let guys go in free agency. But the culture of how we do things is so set in San Francisco. I don't care who's out. You still better bring your lunch. And if you slip up, they're going to cut your ass. That's what I'm starting to see from our team. Now, is in a growing spot? Yeah. But consistency. Schottenheimer said that too. Consistency, style of play, teaching, football IQ, all these type of things. You start to hear that more, playing the right way, playing together, winning football. You don't start hearing all these slogans in everybody's interview. Because Schottenheimer's been around football long enough that these type of intangibles, they live past players' careers. Now, that's something that might be over. So that might be a slogan that might be over some of y'all head. These type of tangibles, they live past when a guy gets hurt on your team. Your team still has these. They don't come with players. This comes with the mentality of when you hear, this is what we do. This is like a good friend of mine who retired in the military. You know what he said? The military got a standard. They got a cultural way to do it. They don't care when a general retires, you can have all the general retire. The system will still move forward with the next guy. Will it hurt because you lose some good people? Yes. But the system is foolproof to keep a consistent basis. And then you try to get better people in the system to bring it to another top, but you're still going to be good. This is where we're trying to build people. And I see those intangibles. Now you'll say, well, coach, what intangible you saw with the defense that you like and play style? Because this is the first time you got to really see them in live action when they're bringing guys to the ground. I'll tell you for one thing from the start with. I talked about this last year constantly, and some of my counterparts, if they're listening, they can testify this. I think we played physical, and not we played non-physical. I kept saying all during the year, if you want to fix something on our defense, let's just play a little bit more physical and let's start right there, and then we'll see how the rest of it works. I remember saying that many a times. Well, we started at the physical part day one, and everything is looking better because of that part. If you're a Cowboy fan and you've been watching us play, last year when you watched us play, tell me, and I'm gonna watch y'all in the chat because I want y'all to say something in the chat. Tell me when you see guys when we the game tackling that you see just yesterday, and guys going backwards when you tackle them. How many times we seen guys going backwards? Even the linebacker that got the interceptions last year in the last scrimmage, he's like the third string. He picked a guy up and slammed him like Slam Williams, and picked the guy up and slammed him on his back. Tell me how many times you've seen guys going backwards and the rally around the football. Even when the Jalen Milroe tried to get out, he was looking for the sideline because you saw guys, white jerseys coming from all areas surrounding him, not jogging to the ball, not saying we're going to try to get to the ball. You seen guys coming to the ball. The rally was impeccable last night from the beginning to the end. I talked about that. Rallying to the football. I preached about that all last year because I said that was horrible. We talking about pass rush. Everybody wants to hop on pass rush, but I kept saying when you have quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, Love, a couple other quarterbacks against us last year that completed 90% of their passes in a game when the ball traveled less than 11 yards in the air. I told you that's not a pass rushing problem. That is a back end rally tackling problem. Because teams say, get the ball out of the hand. We're going to get 5 or 6 more extra yards or more every time we touch the ball. Yesterday, they got no yak yards. I bet you they pulled up the yak yards yesterday. You'll be amazed. You caught the ball and your ass went down. Think about that yesterday. Nobody talks about that. That's why you come to this show right here. This is why you come to Coach Marv Real Talk, because you're going to get pieces of nuggets about these important things of our team. There ain't nobody going to talk about, but they're going to be difference makers for us winning championships. I might not have no collabs with nobody. Everybody might be on the other paper, but I always say, you're going to come back down my street. And you're going to start hearing your coaching staff say something about the same things I talk about down the street, and you'll be like, dog. And you will start hearing your players talk about it, you like, didn't I hear that from somewhere? Or talk about those certain type of things? Yeah. Coach Marv Real Talk. The rally. Schottenheimer talked about the other day about they're timing the speed of the secondary of getting around the ball. I think I heard Law Nation say one day he was talking about how the defensive back coach, the secondary coach from the one that came with the passing game coordinator, just be on their case about getting off of blocks and getting to the ball. Because guess what? Schottenheimer seen that last year. He thought that that was a problem. He thought the play style of that was a problem. I thought that was a problem. I kept saying about it, it was a problem. But we were so focused on, we were so uh, in our feelings about Michael Parsons going, and Michael Parsons couldn't even solve that problem. The only thing it was going to do is frustrate Michael Parsons to the utmost when guys can say, hey, man, let's throw the ball 5 yards and get 10. I remember going to the Green Bay game when they put 40 points up. I remember Love completed 31 passes in that game. I remember at 31 passes, he only had 2 passes that traveled over 11 yards. And one was on a broken play in the first quarter, on the first drive. Every time he tried to go back and throw the ball and have long distance routes, we were getting to him. We might not be getting sacks, but we were getting pressure. Yes. Short little y'all don't believe. Yes, we were getting pressure. The stats said we got a lot of pressure. We just didn't get a lot of sacks. Why? Do you understand the reason why? See, sometimes you have to deal with what I said in this other part of this title here. We talked about intangibles, and then we said players play with context. Context means a reason why. Studying why they played a certain way. What was the stuff that made up when we just can't look at a number and say, oh, the guy ain't play well, or a guy didn't run the ball well, or something, and we don't look at the context. When I looked at our defense last year, I looked at it and said, if you're throwing the ball less than 10 yards down the field and you screening us to death and short passes us to death and slant and coming crossing routes to death so guys can run, guess what happens? Your defensive line gets frustrated. And I always say this. And not only the back end with that, and then we were so vanilla that there was no confusion about where you could get rid of the ball if you want to get rid of the ball right now. We didn't disguise anything because we had no continuity, because we had guys back there hell, the secondary ain't practiced together. The total secondary never practiced together. Hell, they've been in and out the whole time. No continuity. We were just a bunch of guys on the field. Then we had guys like Elam and Clark. Clark had lost his physicality. Elam I would never have him on nothing of mine. Diggs ain't physical. Hooker was never going to hit nobody, and Donovan Wilson was just too damn slow. A recipe for destruction. With a guy like Matt Eberflus that didn't take control and shake the world up and demand a certain play style. You could talk about all the other stuff, baby, but those are facts, Jack. And I watched just yesterday, I seen a guy catch a ball in front of somebody. Next thing when he's done on the ground and he's going backwards. Guy catch the ball, makes no difference, short pass, on the ground. You may got a couple steps, but you're going around and guys are rallying to the ball. What does that do? Let me tell y'all what that do. Football is a mental game. If the components on the other side know when they get the ball, they get past the line of scrimmage, that guys gonna be coming from everywhere, and they coming with bad intentions, It's going to set a tone in the offensive guy's mind to say, let me find a safe place to get on the ground. If they feel that people are not rallying, coming to the ball, they're going to start running the ball to go to the end zone every time they get the ball because they don't think nobody's going to hit them. And they can get away from stuff because they don't see nobody coming. Like the great Chandler Berry used to say, he said, kill an ant with a sledgehammer. That's the exact same thing we used to coach about when a guy gets the ball and he catches the ball. So, yeah, you caught it, but we're going to make you remember this catch. I'm going to get my frustrations out that you caught it by how I tackle you. And my friends are coming. Because if I have any struggle to tackle you, they're coming to put hats on you. And guess what that does? It tells everybody on their sideline that might be coming in the game, the next string of guys, the second string, the third string. I'm telling you what players say. You can act like players don't talk. But if they see those guys rallying to the ball and flying to the ball, you know what the other guys on the sideline saying? Damn, the boy's coming. It's not about killing an ant with it's not about killing a fly with a sledgehammer. It's about the other flies that are watching. It ain't about the fly you kill. It's about the other flies you watching. And then you start setting a tone that you win the physical battle because people stop trying. That's an intangible, people. And I like what I'm seeing. Why? Because everybody else is watching this film. You know what Seattle came out with on yesterday? Even though they're not game planning for the season, they came out with the same game plan that was last year against the Cowboys. I bet you some of y'all ain't noticed that, did you? I bet you some of y'all didn't even notice that. Start out with short passes on the cornerbacks, thinking the cornerbacks were not going to come up and tackle. Trying to run the ball outside with toss sweeps. Because we used to have a problem of rallying on the outside with the safety and the cornerback coming up and tackling. Throwing crossing patterns. The exact same blueprint that teams attacked us all last year with. So they found out that, Shaq, that don't work with this team. Because guys are rallying to the ball. The cornerbacks are expected to come up and tackle guys now, not wait. They're going to force it, and the linebacker is going to clean it up. Or the linebacker is going to force it, and the safeties and the cornerbacks going to clean it up. Same stuff I talked about last year. I said they work hand in hand. One force, one cleans it up. One force, other cleans it up. If they're not working together, it looks bad. Linebacker do his job, but he looking at the job, he forcing something, and he's looking for safeties and corners that come up and clean it up, and they still standing back there. Or if he gets outside, the linebacker, the corners, and the safety don't come up and force it to bring it back to him. And now he's chasing. Yeah. That's football, baby. That's why this is the greatest team sport in the history of team sports. This is what football does. And Seattle came out with the same game plan to attack the Dallas Cowboy defense. We're going to test the edges. We're going to test and see if they're going to be physical on the back end. And guess what they found out? Uh-oh. It's a little different this year. Guess what McVay found out? Uh-oh. It's a little different back in that back end this year. And they're not vanilla. They might line up vanilla, but they're doing other things that's taking our first read away, and now the guy got to hold the ball. And then when you do go to the short pass, it's catch and on the ground. How many times they took them 3 downs to get 10 yards when they did get the first down? And I don't care if they threw the ball 2 times. There's an interesting stat on Philadelphia last year. I think, and I want to say this right. The Logic Cowboy did a great show, and I reposted it, and I will repost that. The Logic Cowboy did a great breakdown on what he felt Christian Parker's background, and he talked about Christian Parker's background. He did one of the best shows, The Logic Cowboy. You need to check that out. Where he talked about his background, and he talked about Philadelphia last year. Philadelphia was not they didn't have a whole lot of pass rushers themselves, but the defense touched the quarterback the most, some of the most times in the NFL by creating pressure. But what North Philadelphia was in the top 2 or 3 in the league at, they didn't give up no yak yards. You caught the ball and your ass was on the ground. And that helped their defense be a top 10 defense. Conversely, we were at the bottom of the league for the last couple of years, if not more, in yak yards. You ain't gonna get the content from nobody else, people. Like, comment, and share. Like, comment, and share. You ain't gonna get these nuggets. These are nuggets that you need to start when you watching the game. When you watching the game. When you watching our football game. When you see our game, watch how we rally around the ball. And don't worry about if the guy caught the ball. Don't worry about if the guy just watch, because that pressure to make you earn everything you get. That pressure when a guy catches and you see when you tackle it ain't gotta be no monster hit, but you see him hit the ground hard. You see other guys coming and flying and hitting them. That constant pressure, that constant making you work, that constant even knowing that you flying around the ball, it weighs on the team. It weighs on the team, the other team. Then they start making mistakes. Then they start jumping off sides. Then they try to pressure you or try to do something, and you pounce on them and you make that mistake. That's where this defense is going. I need Coach Parker. I see it. I see you, Coach Parker. Because what I like is you looking at I like your coaching looking at point of view. And I like you, Shot Allen, because as I said last year, when we got offered, I said the first thing they're gonna fix is the safety position with aggressive play. And guys that can fly and smart and fix that first. I like it because I said I remember saying that if there was any kind of defensive guy coming in, that's going to be the first thing they fix. And guess what? You might not see it, but this is why Woods is shining, because your safeties are now in a position to support the linebackers. Oh, you ain't gonna get it no better from nobody else than you get it from this show. This is why you see guys like Woods shine. Because the safety position now is a back-end guy, but he is a filler. Linebackers, shoot the gaps. Be aggressive. We're going to clean it up. If you miss, we're going to clean it up. Because there's really no offense that has nobody designed to block a guy. The guys that block the safeties are what we call cleanup blocks. And if the safety standing in one damn spot or don't move, they're easy to get to them. I always tell our safeties and our strong safeties and our third corner, our nickel corner, if a guy come all the way across the damn field and block you, you should be blocked. And I need to find me somebody else. Because that means you ain't reacting and you standing in one spot. If a guy run a long run or a long pass, and the first people I look is, where the hell was our safety? Because they're the last part of defense. They need to be flying. They need to be where the ball is. They got to be in route, wide open. And when they're in route, they bring a mentality to the defensive back, the cornerback, to do the exact same thing. But when their mentality is lax and jog and just trying to be out there, not making no plays, everybody else takes that mentality. The exact same thing I said when I need to go back and I remember I kept posting that Chicago screen pass when Swift ran down the field for 50 yards, and I stressed so much. I said, there's a cancer in that secondary, and we don't get rid of it, it's going to destroy this team. That was back when Chicago game. Because I watched every time the back end just run beside the guy. Nobody ran. I watched guys stay on blocks for 15 seconds. Just play fighting with another guy and letting the guy block. I don't give a damn how much you cover as a cornerback. You're a defensive player. Ain't a damn receiver in this league supposed to block you for longer than a couple of seconds. And I don't care how much you cover. You can't play for me if you let receivers go out and dominate you and block you all over the field. Because you're going to hurt us way more than a little bit of coverage you're going to get. You get one interception and gave up I don't know how much lat yards and big plays because the guy's running. No. You'd be sitting over the side beside me. And yesterday, go watch. And I ain't got the all 24. I ain't going to need to get all 22. You can see that just off what I just saw. You're going to see guys getting into blocks, getting off of blocks, and getting to the damn football. Rally. And that, my friends, is an intangible that's so good. And I guarantee you, Seattle see that. Because know who it looked like? The Seattle defense from last year. Not a bunch of stars, but a bunch of guys that play with attitude. And then they made names. Well, I'm going to tell you, man. Names are made, as Coach says all the time. When y'all go out there searching for names, I tell you, names are made every day. Brown name is made. A name started to be made. Only thing is opportunity. What makes a name? Opportunity. And what you do with that opportunity. Then you start making a name, you get some confidence behind you. Then you be like, well, dog, this guy keep playing because he got confidence. Confidence is ooh. I've seen guys, listen, man, it's the same thing with a guy walking the club. The guy that got that confidence that he can't strike out, he on one, you can pull him off. Because you just feel it that way. A guy ain't got no confidence, he can have everything about him going good and can't get nothing. That's facts, baby. So the intangibles, rallying to the ball, how many times we see the go watch the film. Go back and watch it. When y'all go and watch it, you'll say, God, coach is right. Look how many times there's so many game tackles and guys are going back. Guess what? Guys on that sideline, when Seattle going back that sideline, they talk about that stuff. You know, they're like, man, the boys, they're a little bit more aggressive than they was. This ain't what I remember. I love that part. Great, great part right there. That's intangibles. Offensively. Did I see some intangibles? Yes. I've seen some receivers blocking. I've seen some, like number 11, supposed to be a veteran. His days are numbered here. See, a veteran guy that's been around the league for that long, I expect him to do the small things, even big time. But when he don't do the big time small things, right? I don't even want him around. I think they need if he can't listen. If number 11, who's been in this league 8 years, if he misses a block or not aggressive on a block, I would cut him the next day. You said, wait a minute, coach. Why? I don't want nothing to get in our young receiver's mind to say you're going to stay in this league if you're a third wide receiver and you're not willing to do the dirty things to win games. And if I get them watching a guy that's been in the league 8, 9 years and he's not doing the little things right, get him out of here. Because he's going to set a standard for these young people thinking, I can stay around as long as them doing what they do. And he didn't do that to stay around that long. And if he gotten too old to go ahead and do that, goodbye. Y'all want to say I want to go back to history? I go back to history again with y'all. I remember Jimmy Johnson got here, and he put nobody, Randy White, and some of the veteran guys that was already over the hill decided to go ahead and retire because Jimmy came here and put them through the ringer, wide open, practicing and dirty work and hitting and all kinds of. They were like, man, we've been around too long. Guess what? Jimmy said, if you can't go hard as a older veteran to show this younger team, these younger guys that I'm bringing out, what got you to be a Hall of Famer, and you can't work hard, I'd rather you to get the hell on than to set a bad habit and say, I'm a veteran sitting around moving halfway. So when I watch number 11 go out there and halfway block, when I come back and watch the film, he'll be gone. And guess what? That'll help the culture move faster. And I'll let people know why he's gone. He's been around the NFL long enough. He has not stayed in this NFL without doing the little things. Now you don't get your veteran status and start doing, say, well, I don't need to do all that. No, that's right. And I do not want that to be around. That's a cancer. Just like I said last year, that's a cancer. When you let your veterans sit there and do it like an Elam last year, like and I hate to say this, like a Hooker last year, not play aggressive, not attacking the football. When you start letting those guys come in there, Diggs last year, and acting like they can't attack the football, turning down fucking tackles. Excuse my French. When you get guys doing that on your back end and you trying to teach younger guys, and they watching the guys that been around the longest, and they have. That's a cancer. That's a bad culture. Y'all might not think that's losing football, but guess what happens? It sets a tone for you to get your butt kicked on Sunday. Because the difference between the talent level between the top team in the NFL and the bottom team is minute. And usually the difference is what team carries themselves in a different manner. I like about that, Coach Parker. I heard his players say that. I heard these players say they don't care. There's one standard. There's one thing. I heard Overshawn say, "Hey, man, if we expect everybody to do the thing the same way." Ooh, I love that. I love you, but the only way I'm gonna love you as a player is you setting the standard for everybody else. And know why your veteran players set a standard for everybody else? Because if they're not on the field, they expect you to they expect the same stuff to get done. They need you to help. They need you to be able to play and hold the fort down. They're gonna need the others to play as well. If they don't set a standard, then guess what? When the others around them fail them, they're not gonna look as good. So I don't have no tolerance for a guy that's a veteran, a guy on this team that ain't doing the little things. Holding the guy, the receiver that been on this practice squad for the last 2 years that fumbled that ball, he would be gone tomorrow. Now y'all can say, well, Coach, you being red man, that guy got some tap. No, he'd be gone. And guess what? I might bring him back later on if he's around. If I need somebody, and we may have a discussion and bring him back later on in the year. We need to get a guy on the practice squad because I ain't worried about nobody else taking it. There's an example needs to be made with that guy. Listen, man, when you're down the totem pole like you are holding, and you do stuff that's nowhere close to winning football, it costs you your job. And that's the best lesson that you can learn as a person. It might be the best thing to happen for him as a man. But I don't want that type of mentality to be in our locker room. People that do stuff that's nowhere close to winning team football. All that was an individual thing for yourself that had no chance of working. And for that, my friend, you gotta go. Because it's not about you. It's about the rest of the players that's watching. Just like that killer ant with a sledgehammer, a killer fire with a sledgehammer. Ain't about the fire you kill. It's about the other flies that's watching. It ain't about as much as about getting rid of you. It's about everybody else that's watching on this team that let them know that selfish, unwinning type, just boneheaded, unwinning type plays are not tolerated on this type of Dallas Cowboy football team. Will they do that? I don't know. I doubt it. But if they do that, we're moving in the right direction. Shout out, if you want to set your culture right, this ain't the time to say, well, we giving the guy, because this guy is not a pivotal piece. You can find more guys like him. And one, you might be helping him more than you hurting him. Because probably the reason why he was undrafted and always was a talented guy that never could get that is because he would do certain things like this all the time. And everybody giving him a pass because well, he's gonna be all right. His see, the first shock value when he didn't get drafted. He's still making the same mistakes now. I didn't get it. I wouldn't have no talk with him. Players content. Talk about a couple of players. Sam Slam Williams. I need to dig into more of Sam Williams' play. But I think Sam Williams' time in Dallas is about over. What I see from Sam Williams is they say he's a 4-3 guy. They say he's back to his speed. I see a guy that is not as athletic and free flowing like the rest of these guys, the Maris, the Houston, everybody else that played the outside. Wheat. No, it's just like he got and the other thing I don't see from Sam Williams, I don't see the hustle. I don't see the breaking out. I see sometimes the players away from him and he just standing with a guy and allowing the guy, he's not getting to the football. He's not with his speed, he can be getting off block. And with that size, when he come to clean things up, he can make people like, hey, the worst, listen, man, the guys that you don't like on defense, offensive players don't like, is the guys that shuts their hold down, their hold down, their responsibility. The ball goes away from them. They get off of that, and if you don't stay with them and continue to block for them the whole time, they're standing over there by the play, or even getting a hit on the guy on the other play and across the field, because that's how much they hustling. The DeMarcus Lawrence type of guy. And guess what? Guess what? When they go in film study, the guy in film study, the coach be talking to the offensive guy like, "Man, we gotta stay with the guy. How he got over there and who's blocking that guy? Why we not staying? Because you don't like that type of guy as an offensive guy, because he don't quit. Because you think if I block him away from the play, I ain't got to block him still. He'll stay there, and I can get a little rest because I'm not in the main part of the play. But when he don't quit, I know he's gonna get all the way across, and he's gonna make me look bad. So he make me work extra hard on the backside because this guy don't quit. I don't see that from Sam Williams. I don't see the don't quit. I see that out of Malachi. I see that out of Houston. I see that out of Leofow. I see that out of Wheat. I'm probably gonna see that out of Easy. I would see that out of Gary. I don't see that out of Sam Williams. Second part I don't see about Sam Williams, even I'm talking about his mobility, is he just a straight line speed guy? Because I don't see the quick twitch guy. Second thing I don't see out of Sam Williams, and this is the truth. I said this last year. I said this with Sam Williams. I said, Sam Williams don't play with his arms extended. Every other defense outside linebacker, you could see that they have been learning greatly from the pass rusher expert that have been in Dallas. I think he's going to be a big key. When y'all talking about getting pressure, we're going to have a lot of guys that will get a lot of sacks. And I'll talk about that. Because multiple guys is way better than having one dog. I'm just teams, it's documented. But you could see everybody else with their hand usage and the extending of their arms. That's why I love Izzy. I mean, Izraku, because he is perfect. He got them all anyway. That hand, Sam, if you watch him, he allows people to get in his chest. with short arms like alligator arms. And when guys get in his chest, he gets stuck. Anytime he uses his hands and get lift, he's more effective, but he don't do that often. That's why he can't get in the pursuit lane. And 4 years, and we talk about the same stuff, it ain't gonna work. It just ain't there. It was a project, but try to let that go. Just be honest. His technique should be more than just a rookie guy technique now. And that's what it looks like to me. And I know he getting taught the right way because I'm watching everybody else do. You can look at their technique. You just see their technique, their hand extension, getting people off them, getting the hands and moving their feet, got a little wiggle in their hips. Sam looks stiff. And he's still letting people kill his body. And if a defensive lineman trying to rush or trying to do anything, when an offensive lineman gets in this space, your ass blocks. If you get your arms in here like this and not extended, and he gets in your space, it's over. And I know Sam been told this over and over, but he wants to do it his way. Some guys make it be having talented, but they stuck on their way. A change of scenery might be good for him. Let's see, show me something different. He should be a casualty of war. Um, Safety play, yes. Woods is a dog. Woods is benefiting from this system even more than he benefited from the last system because this system allows the safeties to be aggressive and they allow them to clean up. And with a hitter, he loves to clean up because he likes stuff to be forced to him. And he's gonna be able to hit it. I think. Listen, now I'm gonna say this. I know a lot of people like, man, well, coach, why they playing these guys? If they're doing the things where I think they're doing, yeah, they are trying to play 14. Now I'm calling 14. I like him, Marquise Bell. Marquise is a slow man. Marquise is don't have the speed, the foot speed, the attack. Um, Marquise Bell, I think we talked about this last year. I think when I first kept talking about the safety position, when my counterparts kind of talked about it with me, we were talking about. I think Boston said something. And I said, yeah, it was like we got to need to clear the whole room. Yeah, the whole room need to go. Elijah Clark is a guy that I think I want to be here. We might can slide him in the practice squad again. But the rest of the safety room got to go. I think Hooker and Marquise, we don't understand. Marquise probably going to be suspended first couple games because of that trouble he got into. So that hadn't came around. So that suspension coming too. So there's no need to hold on to him. I think that the Cowboys are holding on to these pieces like Marquise Bell and Hooker because they think that they maybe can get a trade piece for him. If they can get a fifth or sixth round pick, they think that they may can try to boost their stock. Because when you see these guys playing a lot in the preseason game, I don't know why Hooker not playing in the preseason. Shit, come on, man. These guys, and I know some of y'all think, well, he's a lot. If Hooker stays on this team, y'all talking about Marquise Bell. If Hooker stay on the team, I'll take Marquise Bell if I take Hooker. I like Hooker. Hooker just ain't making plays no more. And when anytime a guy takes, and he did take a pay cut, anytime a guy start taking whatever you give him just to hang around, I said that, man, when a guy started devaluing himself like that because he just want to stay in Dallas because he loved living in Dallas, that's basically what they're saying. You think you're gonna get more play out of him and he doesn't devalue himself? No, he's gonna do just enough to stay around. And I don't need guys doing just enough to stay around. I need safeties that are willing and want to make plays. And Woods wants to make a play. PJ Locke wants to make a play. Thompson wants to make a play. Downs wants to make a play. And they're gonna play that way. So hey, man, this safety room needs to be cleared out, and we need to go all brand new. Offensively, yes, Mr. Brown did a great job. Like I said, he's getting his opportunity in practice, and he's making his way. The rookie receiver, number 83, he's doing a good job. They're gonna keep the rookie. Dallas has been notorious, and the guys they pick, they don't cut guys they pick. So when they pick him, he's gonna get his opportunity to make it through 1 year. Would that mean they go with 6 wide receivers? Probably so. They're gonna go with 6 wide receivers. They're gonna go with 6 wide receivers because they got some decision making after this year. They're not gonna sign Turpin back again. But I think Turpin is in his last year in Dallas. And then you got some other guys that that you're looking for a third wide receiver because um, you ain't gonna be able to sign your third wide receiver to a contract that he wants. We ain't gonna put that much money. So that position is always gonna be traded out, and you need to have the next man up. So that position, if you decide to keep Pickens and Lamb on this football team, that third wide receiver guy is gonna be a guy that you're gonna trade out every 2 years. Let me say that again. I don't care how good the guy is. They ain't signed. They're not going to sign the third wide receiver guy to a contract. That guy is going to be the guy that the coaches, that the ownership, going to tell you, if I invest the big money into CD Lamb and and George Pickens, the money that we're talking about putting in them, I'm telling my coaching staff right now, the Flournoys, the other guys that we got third wide receiver, they're good till their contract run out. When their contract run out, I don't care how good they are, we got to have the next third guy ready to take their place. And I don't even want to hear nothing about signing them. I don't want to hear nothing about, well, we can't do without that. No. If I invest, if I invest the money in this, and this is business. See, our Cowboy fans don't understand this type of business. It's a numbers game. If if I invest the money that I'm investing in Pickens, and I invest the money I'm investing in CD Lamb on this team, if the third wide receiver guy is gonna change out every 2-3 years, because whenever they rookie contract run out, we're gonna have another one. I don't care if Flonos go out there and have. They say he's the best third wide receiver in the NFL. Guess what he'll be doing next year on another damn team? You, unless he want to take peanuts, and I don't expect him want to do that. And the coaching staff knows that you got 2 horses, and you're gonna have to find the third guy and develop the third guy to go along with these 2 horses every time. That's just how it is. Y'all don't think that's how it runs? Guys stayed there for 4 years. I don't care if they're all pro. It's time for their contract up. Either they might trade them, or they'll trade them and bring the next guy in, and they expect the secondary coach to have the next guy ready and coach him up, and let's not miss a beat. And they done that 3-4 years in a row. They already show you that they don't pay defensive backs. This is how the Rams do. They do the same thing. They tell McVay, if you want to go out and get a big piece, we'll trade to get a big piece. But the rest of your roster, your offensive line, some of your other guys, we expect you to make that work out of these bad draft picks. We need you coach it up and get guys to fit around this thing that don't cost us a whole lot of money. That's your job as a coach. And when you ask us to go get the big name, we'll go get it. But we're not going to get every damn position. We're not spending that because then you're not helping us none. This is how the best teams operate. If you want us to move, yeah, we're gonna get it, but you got to make it in some others, and they understand that because they know you can't pay everybody. That's just the numbers game. And I think Florida's, if we utilize Florida's with it, he's about to have an even better year than he had before. He's going to be a dangerous weapon. And this is last year's contract, he'll be playing. If we decide to keep Pickens and Lamb, this will be his last year in Dallas. That's just how it is. But I bet you our fan base ain't gonna like that. We'll think, no. But these other winning organizations, they cut people. They cut people and keep on with it. Hell, Debo got to a point. Debo Samuel was gone. Now he done came back at a rate for them, but hey, we don't behold to nobody. We like talent, but it's our job not to run away from coaching. And there's a lot of talent out there, and we say, hey, sometimes we're gonna give a guy an opportunity to make his name. And the name may not be what you think. You might not know it, but we might see the name of the talent in practice. And we're gonna give that guy an opportunity. And we can be able to work this cost thing with other parts. That's just how football is. If you do that on your basis, you can win a lot. But if you start chasing every position, every time something falls, you start chasing to try to get somebody else and man, you be chasing all day. Called chasing the tail, man. So the third wide receiver here, yes. Offensive line. I think Nate Thompson is playing with his confidence. I think when Shotty said that we're gonna let you compete with the left tackle position, I think he's in that second year slump. I think we see enough in him where he can get out of it. But right now he's dealing with a confidence issue because he thought he was in that battle, but then when you see you done lost, now it kind of kills your confidence. And I think he's battling his confidence, but I think his confidence can get back together. Christian, remember Christian, the guy from Oregon they had last year? They gave a red shirt year last year. I thought he was playing tackle, but I think he did a very good number 65. I think he did a very good job at guard. I like his development. I watched him. I like what Christian's doing. The guy we drafted, which I think we shouldn't have drafted, we may have could have went to the running back. I know Lou Tates talks about that. I know Balls talks about we should have drafted a running back. I agree with them on that because there was some very good running backs out there that we didn't have to draft that offensive line. We may could have got that later on. I didn't like that, but hey, I think he's got a lot of developing to go. He's okay, but he's got to develop. He got to get a little stronger, and he got to develop his body because he looked like a very small tackle and a lot of stuff. Once he developed his body and get that peanut butter, I think he might be all right. Greg, number 77, the guard that they got, the guy that who went through USC that they finally got. I think he's got potential to be a very good guard. They need that guard because I think they want to play the other guy, center, I forgot his name, from Oregon. I think they like a lot of him, and he's going to be a guard. But I think Greg is going to be pretty good. So I like some of the things I've seen with some of our other offensive linemen. That's what I really wanted to see. I ain't where I wanted to see some of because that's very important because you may have some injuries and you need to keep the things going. Who can fit in there? And I see Greg is good. Christian looked pretty good. Greg looked good. I think we are all right. And I still got a good faith in Nate Thomas. And I think the backup center, I think we got that is solidified. I think we're all right. As I always say, I thought we was really good at line. Quarterbacks. I don't really talk about quarterbacks. I think what we were doing, the offensive line, keeping people off and throwing stuff in rhythm, we were doing all right. I think guys made plays. They talked about Brown making some good plays in the receiving game. They say he's been making some plays all training camp. And I think he's gonna solidify himself on this team because he can play special teams. And you need those guys because guess what? They're looking for another third wide receiver. I believe they're gonna keep Pickens and Lamb in this fold. And if they keep Pickens and Lamb in this fold, the third wide receiver is gonna change out every 2 years. So that's how it is. So that's a great pickup. Okay. So running back. I know when we went into this game, they said we were gonna be there's a competition with running back. Now, context. Schottenheimer and I did see this part when I went to read back looking at Schottenheimer's interview. I think some of our content creators didn't hear the interview at the sideline interview when Schottenheimer was going to the locker room. Schottenheimer was not happy with our offensive line play and our push in the running game and being crisp in the running game. I wasn't too happy with our line early on in the running game. Yeah, I'm going to that too. Running game. And he said the second half was going to be about winning the line of scrimmage. So it seems like in the halftime, because when we came out, we won the line of scrimmage all across the board in the second half. It was a better performance, maybe against at least our third people were better performing. It was a better performance in crispness in our line play that gave our running backs a little bit more room through the line of scrimmage. But I say this again, and I agree with everybody. Davis was the best looking. Davis has gotten to the point where he understands how to run the football, and he looks to gets in the open. The thing I have a problem with Blue is not his physicality. He looks small, but I believe Blue runs tough enough. But I don't think Blue has had enough carries to know the ins and outs of how to run the ball. I don't know if y'all understand that. Let me explain that. Knowing how to run the ball, there's a lot of times when Blue sticks and goes up in there where if he goes up in hard and he does a stutter step and puts his foot on the ground and gets to the outside and then turns it up just a little bit, not run to the outside, just slide to the left, slide to the right, and then turn the speed on. He doesn't have that. He's only a straight line guy. He doesn't have that slide step, that type of stuff that you would think, well, God is a change of pace that you need. I don't want him to be, and then in context, I don't think that the type of runs we ran is conducive to Blue running the ball well. And I think he's locked into that, but he got to understand, even though they're running those plays up the middle, his tight ends, if they're doing good, but he can slide it and bounce it, not bounce it to the sideline, but bounce it, slide, and then give the field. There's other room. I'm seeing too many times that he just put his head down and plow up in there, and if he go hard, he can wiggle to get outside. And his vision does not look like it's a vision of a top tier running back in the second string. And I think this is because, think about it, he didn't run the ball a lot in college. And then I think it's going to take too many carries for him to get to the point where he's going to be that type of guy. And I don't think it's enough carries. They're going to give him enough carries for him to be that type of guy. he needs extensive work. I'm not saying he's not a talented guy, but he needs a lot of carries to be able to get to that type of guy. So I don't think he's not going to get that type of guy. I don't think Martha has ever been that type of guy. I don't think Martha got the wiggle that I would like for the second back. Number 30, I see that a little bit with him. He has that. That's what I'm saying to you is I see where Izzy has been a top running back. He's been a number one guy that had a lot of carries. Moffitt didn't have a lot of carries in Clemson. I don't think what name has had a lot of carries. But Malik Davis done got a lot because of he's been going through this thing for 6 years, 5 years. And he's learned to have that type of wiggle and burst and still run hard. That's why I like him as the number 2. And I like Izzy as the number 2. I'm not saying, but I can understand why they gave them time because Schottenheimer probably told them that I'm going to give y'all the opportunity. Even though I like the other guys and they might be looking better, I'm going to give y'all an opportunity to show y'all things. Know what that is? And y'all keep talking about that that's a politics. They know that ain't. That's a trust. That goes back to what I'm saying about trust and respect. A coach got to get that. If I tell you you're going to get an opportunity, I'm going to give it to you. Especially early on in this preseason, I'm going to give you the opportunity. And we start getting later, you'll know why your opportunity is gone. But I'm going to give you the opportunity. You're not going to go back and say, oh, well, Coach said he's going to give me an opportunity and he lied. No. It's not about your situation with Blue or your situation with Martha. It goes back to what I said about killing the fly with a sledgehammer. It's not about the fly that you kill. It's not about Blue and Martha. It's about the rest of the guys that's watching what you say, Shotty. And when these guys, and I don't think that they passed anything but flying colors in this game, now you got valid. Now you can say, one, the blocking was better with the other guys, sure. But you're going to watch in this film where the other guys had a little shift to get that extra 5 yards. And we're going to watch you and Martha not do that. And I need you to be able to do that because you're second. I need you to be able to do that. Now, the other problem I got a problem with, y'all want to talk about things you got a problem with. Yeah, Martha got hurt. Yeah, and see, Martha might be in, he might not be as tough. Yeah, he might have a bruise, but he just, he just killing his opportunity. This train ain't waiting. This ain't waiting. The other part is our fullback need to play some goddamn preseason game. Yeah. We're not trying to rest you. You got to be tough. So I understand where Shadi's coming from. And I understand where he's coming from. And he's allowing them to have opportunity. And that's the trust factor. When you tell a player that, hey man, and you see the other guys, they see the other guys. But your team, your players got to trust what you say. If you don't give it, and this is it, give them the opportunity here. Now, when you start seeing other guys get more of an opportunity, they'll understand where it's coming from, and they can never walk away. And none of the rest of the team can walk away and say, they messed him over. They ain't giving it up. No, he got it. Just like what my post was, I told you I like Blue, and I like Martha. What I said in my post when I did my post, I said opportunity. Opportunity don't go nowhere. It don't disappear. If you don't seize it, guess what? It goes to the next person. Said that. And this is too early for us to say right now that it's not open competition. I told y'all this, man. You can't go 1 week in training camp and say, oh man, no, let's go change it right now. If you said you're gonna give him opportunity, give him opportunity. And I understand he didn't like the way the blocking was. And if you look at it, the blocking was more crisp in the second half, where guys had a little bit more opportunity to run. But there was times in both with Marfa, even when Marfa caught that screen, that play over there, they talking about he put his head down. He still went out of bounds too easily. And from a second running back, we want a guy to be able to make a play. And I always say that if I got it, that's why I was saying what I was saying about Tony Pollard. I need a guy, if he has to get, he's used to having number one carries, and he can do that because that's not a second nature. That's what I'm saying. And when you look at it, I think Davis is that guy because he's been around so long. And then I like the 30 because it looked like he was more of a first leading back in college. If you look at Moffa was not a leading running back in college. No, he wasn't. I watched him here at Clemson. He wasn't the lead guy. And they didn't run the ball with him often. He wasn't the guy that was a lead running back. And the same thing with Blue. He wasn't the workhorse running back. And that takes, if you don't know how that is, you don't know how to get those extra yards. Sometimes the nuances of running, don't have that. That's why I said that instead of drafting that offensive lineman, we should have drafted a guy. And this is why I say it again. I'll say it again, and I say this, and I always say stuff that have context behind. I would have drafted a guy in the third round instead of drafting that lineman, because I would have drafted one of these good running backs that was on the board that had officially been a number one running back in college, that was got extensive carries. They know about the workload. They know about the nuances of running the football. Because I signed my running back to a 2-year contract, basically. That ain't no 3-year contract, it's a 2-year contract. And if I was going to spend money in the receiving room, the running back would be changing out every 2 years. Just like I said about the third wide receiver, I'm going to tell my office to say, hey, I'm going to save you in the running back area. We're going to get great production out of our running back position, but when 2 years go, I'm going to have the next guy. When 2 years come, I'm going to have the next guy. And if I would have drafted that running back, Williams will be gone in 2 years. He might get hurt down. The next running back will be in year 2, going to year 3. He get 2 years. I'll have the next guy behind him. And we're going to continue to keep our great running game, and receivers are where we're going to spend the money. And we ain't going to never spend no big money on the running backs because we're going to change them out. Kansas City said that with defensive backs. We would say that with running backs. We'll say that with third wide receivers. And we'll still stay at the top. And we'll tell our fan base they don't need to get enamored with a running back. It may change a little bit, but we're going to have the next guy ready. But Blue and Moffa, if something go around with Williams, I don't think that they could be number one running backs. Because I'm just saying, from what I'm seeing of just the style of running, do they have that thing that teaches you to be able to know how to set things up and get those extra yards? It's a learned skill. And they got to have number one running back tendencies. They got to been in that position before, and they could be a number 2. But if they have to move to number 1, they know how to go in that mode because they've been in that. Neither one of them in college has been the main source of runners. where they were workhorse runners. And it shows. But I believe in what Scott Shottingham said, we're gonna give you a shot. And he's gonna give them the shot. So when they do fail, if they do fail, then he can say, hey, he still got the trust of his team. And we got time to move on. we ain't in no shocking situation. Uh, some other great play. Number 95. They say he's been playing well in training camp. Number 95 is a true nose guy. I love it. Now, 95, the guy they got from Kansas City, we got workhorses up front. Guys that do dirty work guys. Your defensive tackles, your defensive ends, your linebackers, and your what they're going to get the flash plays. But those guys up there, workhorse guys. I love overtone. Listen, man, Cowboy drafted specifically what Parker wanted. Parker hands is all over the draft at 3-4 type guys. I don't know if y'all see that yet. Good job with those guys. Love our running back, linebackers. What y'all see from our Mike linebacker? What I said in my show come down. If y'all don't think that middle linebacker gonna be blitzing, y'all got another thing coming. He's gonna be applying pressure over Sean and anybody who's playing that middle. They're gonna have a green light to come when they see guys. Don't pay attention to them. They're not waiting for guys to peel off on combo blocks and get them. They're coming up field. They're shooting the gap. They're coming wide open because they're gonna say that our guys on the outside is gonna bring stuff back to the inside, and they're gonna fill the lanes outside, and everything's gonna come back to them. It's a defense that says force, bring it to us. Defense is a team oriented type thing. And if you get people that don't do the force, they make the people that bring it back to look bad. When the people do the force to bring it to you and you don't show up, you make everybody look bad. This is a team thing, and I think they're playing so much as a team. That's why they look good all the way through to their third and fourth string. So, recapping, I see a culture, the intangibles that I'm starting to see, the speed to the football, the playing with intensity, the tackling for the first game of fully tackling to the ground. I love it. That means you can see that they're doing a lot of that work in practice. Did you see a lot of guys laying on the ground that they're hurt? Did we see a lot of guys say that they're coming on the ground when we start tackling to the ground that we see a lot of guys getting up slow or anybody hurt? No. What that tells you? Why you seeing that? Why you don't see that? See, that's something else y'all ain't pick up on, did you? Did you see a lot of our guys laying on the ground and say they was hurt and the trainer coming out there every play? Why? Why you didn't see that? Because we building calluses from practice. That means we going hard enough that guys are building calluses that they don't feel every bump and bruise that they got to be sitting on the ground talking about, oh, my leg hurt, oh, my arm, my shoulder. They're used to hitting. One time we were worried about guys getting hurt all the time because when we practice so lame and when we get in the preseason game, we had guys bumped and bruised and we were like, oh Lord, coach man, we gotta bubble wrap the guys because the guys getting hurt all the time because they ain't had no calluses. See, I see things a lot of y'all don't see or don't even look at. When I watch a game, I watch it through another lens. And some of that lens is stuff that you know that's important. You want to know if your team is ready physically. Now, case in point, Schottenheimer's right about the penalties. We got to get rid of those. And now you got to be a little asshole in practice now. Yeah. And in your meetings about penalties. This is for your leaders to take control of this. Your Dak Prescott's, your Quentin Williams, the Thompson, the guys you consider leaders. This is where they got to speak up to their team about, hey, man, we got to play cleaner. Yes, because I don't want my great players get hurt when we make a great play and we got to bring it back. Let's be clean. So to recap, the close out, man. I know some other people have come on this show, and we have some people that have left our thing and going to their shows. To recap, I see my man Church was in here. I don't know if Church about it now left out. He might be going to some of the other people's show. Hey, Church, I ain't seen you in a while, man. Glad you back in here, Coach CGW, man. Thank you, man, Coach. You always in the thing, man. Always in the chat, man, with a lot of great comments, man. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in. All the people that come in here, man. We're gonna read some of y'all comments, but I want to recap right quick before I go to some of y'all comments because it was some great comments, and I want to talk about some of those comments because some of those comments were very, very good. But listen, recap. I see a lot of great intangibles that was built, that's being built. But I can tell you why these intangibles being built. Our team is playing with confidence. I seen a defense yesterday that's playing with confidence. When you stop people and guys throw up in the right spots and guys are just feeling hope and they're playing together, regardless of the mismatch of units, this team is playing with confidence. This is what confidence looks like in a team. What we saw last year looks what a team with no confidence look like. Disarray, no, everybody moving slow, not reacting. The team attacking them, they're not attacking. But I see team with confidence. And confidence is the key to any sport, and especially football. That's why we need to be pumped up about what we see. Because the more the confidence grows, it becomes a big monster. Now, you got to be able to keep it under control where it doesn't get too overconfident, but you need it for us to keep on propelling to where we want to do. So I appreciate the confidence. And we need to build upon that come on Tuesday. Break them down on Monday. Yeah. And then build it back up on Tuesday. There's some stuff that I said that we need to get rid of. Mr. Holden will be gone if I was coach. Maybe might bring it back later on, maybe one day. Number 11, the receiver number 11, when I watch you not block physically, you're a veteran guy, you got to go. If you can't do the little things, you're not going to be a main receiver here. If you can't do the little things and you can't show these young guys, if you can't show the young guys the little things, you got to go. I love you, Sam Williams, but I just don't see it. You still playing with your the alligator arms. I don't see you chasing plays down. I still see you standing on blocks while other guys make plays, and you just standing on blocks because you're not hustling. I don't see the twitch in your hips. I still see rookie Sam Williams with different coaches because I'm watching the technique of everybody else, and I don't see that technique in you. I'm watching Leopold that just started playing defense in. I'm watching the technique. I'm watching it in Houston. I'm watching it in everybody else. But I ain't seeing it in you. I think the road is about in. That's not being mad. That ain't being mean. That's just truth. And I think Coach Parker's still building. Intangibles, people. That's what's gonna take us a long way. You know what my grandma used to say, manners gonna take you a long way, they'll take you more a long way than anything else. But that's what the tangibles are. Manners. They're gonna take you a long way. They'll take a team a long way, baby. And get them out of some stuff when how they play, how they go about stuff, and get them out of stuff when they get tight, when you get down to the two good teams and the talent just about the same, and get down about who can stick to what they do. When you battle with a guy that's just as good as you, sometimes get down to about not only that grit, but who can stay to their discipline. Like they are who when you rattle their cage, who slip. And when they slip, we pounce. So let me go over some of y'all comments, man. We go back up here at the top, man. With some, I may miss some of y'all great comments, but I'm gonna go back to some of y'all great comments. Somebody said, let me make sure I can put it up here. Yeah, this was well, Nate Thomas wasn't that bad. The pre-snap penalties is horrible. Other than that, I don't think he was that bad. But the pre-start, Jake Taylor was okay. I think 95 just looked a lot better than he is. 95 is just a better for getting rid of him, but he may not make the 53-man roster. But I think he's somebody that can come in. He's not not a loud down player, but 95 is doing a heck of a job there. The other guy, number 95, 93, Winston with W something. I didn't like the way he really played. Holden, listen, man, been around too long. This is why Holden didn't get drafted because he probably did knucklehead type things. And we could cheap talk Holden because he did a couple of splash plays and this and that, man. It's time to let it go, right? Um, yeah, they were disappointed. So, I don't think Nate Thomas, just think again what I said about Nate Thomas in my earlier thing, it's about confidence. I think when he lost, I think he felt he's lost the battle with Guyton, and it kind of can mess with your psyche. And like I said, and again, confidence is everything. Last year when he started playing with confidence and people started good, it rolled with him. And it just rolls in the game. I tell you, confidence is everything, man. That's what you want from players to have that confidence. Right. They did. The defense did not look confused at all. That was the next comment he made, and I put that. Yes, they didn't look confused. They looked like they're learning football IQ. I think that they was. I listened to the thing, and they were talking about Carson. Y'all talk bad about Carson, but Carson, made some errors with his hands and stuff like that. But he has sticky coverage. But sometimes he was just using his hands too much. But Carson said some things when they talk about. He said the coaches that poured into him. He said he had learned stuff about leverage and about where you help at and all that stuff. See, again, teachers. Again, I've told you when I told you what to fix this defense, they wanted high football IQ players. If the higher your football IQ, the better you can get yourself in places to make better plays. Yeah, yeah, that is it's yeah. Yeah, but that's something that, and I would say this, man, about tight end. I want to talk about the tight end position. I don't know if I made no comment about that. I think somebody might have made a comment. I think coach might have made a comment about the tight end position. Listen here. Let me do this here. I love tight ends can block. That second tight end and our first tight end is a good block. Our second tight end is a monster block. And our first tight end is not bad. Everything else coming after that. Trigg, I think Trigg is a good talent here in Dallas. I think Trigg should make this team. I think that the road is over for you drafted Schoonmaker to be that massive blocking tight end. That's what you brought him in for. You didn't bring him here to be no catching tight end because he didn't want no catching in. But he was known for blocking, and that hasn't panned out. So Trigg can be here, but I think we should keep 4 tight ends. Trigg should be here, and then we need to get one of them other tight ends, that big massive tight end. We need to keep them, but that's where we at. With these 2 wide receivers, you ain't gonna ask for too many tight ends to catch the football. And your undrafted guy on the bill don't block good enough right now to have a lot of time on the field. But he should be on this roster because he's got talent. And if he learns, this is what we gotta say. This is why it's a reason why he's undrafted. Now somebody gonna say, Coach, what you talking about? He got a talent. Listen, you don't think somebody that told him in his lifetime that he played tight end, if he don't know how to block better, that he was gonna hurt his draft status? You don't think that has been drilled in his head for the last 2 or 3 years as the talent he is as a tight end and the size he is as a tight end, that somebody ain't got on his case and said, man, you got to be able to block better for you to be able to make it in the NFL? Yes, it's been told to him. And he ain't listen. So he got a chance to listen now and be able to be a guy that can be a very good tight end in the league, or he can continue to do his stubbornness and his good catching ass will be out of the league. What do I tell you? Because if he goes somewhere, his catches is not going to overwhelm. He can't block nobody. Ask Graham. Graham was a great catching tight end and shipped around all over the league. Cooper, the guy that caught that pass with Aaron Rodgers against us with Green Bay, came right out here at University of South Carolina. 6'4". Can catch the ball like crazy, but couldn't block nobody. And kept going from league play to play till he was out the league. People say, why that guy can catch that well? Why is he not staying with a team? Because if you can't do the main job of tight end and blocking, you're going to find yourself out. So Trent got a chance to be a great guy. I would keep him on this roster. But he's got to learn what somebody been telling him since day one. They seen it. You don't think coaches, they see his talent catching and they see his imperfections? You don't think people have been harping on his imperfections and telling him, say, hey, man, that's going to hurt your draft status. Hey, man, you ain't going to get drafted. You can't block. Hey, man, you need to get better at blocking. Hey, man, evidently he ain't listening. And he was an undrafted free agent with all that talent catching the ball. This is not being harsh on him. This is telling him the same thing somebody been telling him all the time. See, some of y'all just don't logic. When I started using logic, everybody act like, well, coach, I ain't logic. We don't use logic. When is logic not smart? When I watch a guy like Trigg go around and how he can move and his agility, his size, his hands, and I say, how in the world a guy like this is not drafted? When a guy like Schoonmaker been drafted. Let's say that again. How in the world a guy like Trigg is not drafted and a guy like Schoonmaker got drafted? If we didn't draft him, somebody else would probably go draft him. Because guess what? Schoon could block. Now, did that translate him blocking well in the pros? No. Schoon. But somebody had told Trigg, Rigg, or what, the guy, the young guy, that he had to get better at blocking. I guarantee you that's been told to him all his career. And guess what? He ignored it. And now he's on a team with two all-world wide receivers and a pretty good tight end, and another tight end that's coming along pretty good. And we probably want him on this roster. But for him to be on this roster, his ass better learn how to be a damn physical special team guy to use that athletic ability, and he better learn how to damn block. Because there ain't enough balls gonna come to him for him to say he's gonna stay on this roster because he can catch. And that's plain facts. So he either had to listen and heed to that, and he probably got a good career to come with it. But it's time to listen, young man. And if you ain't got it in him, and he still say he's not gonna work on blocking and be a better blocker, goodbye. Now y'all say, well, Coach, wait a minute, he's so talented. His talent ain't gonna need we gonna need it. We got too much of that talent already. Just like you were telling my ex-wife, why are you buying more shoes? For them to sit in the box? You buy stuff you ain't need. You think I'm gonna fill a roster spot for a guy that can catch and we don't even need it? We already know that Spanish, they say his catching ability is getting even better. We know that Ferguson can catch. We might give Trigg a couple of catches, but he better learn how to block. And he better be damn on that. Because if we cut him, he goes somewhere else. Most times they already got them a tight end. And he go there, if he don't block there, guess what? He be floating around everywhere, having a cup of coffee here, a cup of coffee there. And know what y'all keep saying? I guarantee you, he got talent, he can catch it. I don't know why he can't stay on the team. Know why? Because the things people tell him that he needs to do based off his talent, he'd say, I don't need to do that. I can do my own thing. Okay. And I think he can. I'm not saying cut him like I'm saying cut Holden. I think he needs to be on the team. But I do challenge the young man. Because his coaching staff they don't look him in the face. Now his career is based off him. When I see a guy that got his career in his hands, and the only thing he got to do is listen and focus in on the things that he needs to focus in on, that he can be great and have a great career. When I see a person like that and they still ignore it and still want to do their own thing, I have no remorse for it. Because when people have been telling you this all your career, all you've been telling you, son, you got to be. son, that's gonna hurt your draft status, son, and you still don't pay attention to it, guess what? That is on you. And I think the Cowboys gonna keep him around, and they're gonna give him an opportunity to get himself right. But he don't never get himself right, guess what? He ain't gonna be here long. No, those two beasts at wide receiver, and our third wide receiver that's good, and our two tight ends good. That's just, where he gonna get play? Now if somebody get hurt in the tight end position, he still might not get 100,000 catches. And if he can't block, he gonna kill our running game. Or get Dak Prescott killed. So yeah, I like it. But he need to do that. And Schoonmaker, that's it, man. I know this here. And I don't think it's a political thing with Schoonmaker. I just think that I think everybody else asking Schoonmaker to do stuff. I think when they drafted Schoonmaker, I think our expectation for Schoonmaker based on who he was drafted, and they drafted a guy because they thought that he was going to be a very good blocker at the. And I don't think they drafted him to be a catching tight end. I think what our fan base think that you draft a guy, it's all he was. But I tell you this, they drafted him because they wanted that other person on the side, wasn't they, to be that massive blocker. But then they was fortunate enough to get a guy in undrafted free agency that turned out to be a dominant blocker, and they was able to get it. And it didn't turn out to be a better pass catcher and worked hard enough to get into his set. So I just think, and then now Schoonmaker just don't have the confidence. Then he older and this injuries goes. I just say that they're in the role is coming in. And I ain't worried about them talking about they're gonna play Schoonmaker. Listen, we talking about third tight end at best. What we worried about? If they decide something with a third tight end, okay. But the first two slots of Schoonmaker is done. That's over with. They already done showed you that. With the two big guys they play, they already told you Schoonmaker is hoping for a third or a fourth tight end guy. And that's it for him. So ain't no need to, and they're gonna keep probably the other guy around just because they want to keep him around. Oh yeah, some of these guys are gonna play a little bit more. That's just the first preseason game, and they probably got a rotation about who is gonna get their first things, and they'll probably let the next guys play. And I think a lot of this is based off the scrimmage. If you do well in the scrimmage, I think the better guy doing the scrimmage, I think those guys get the chance. So the scrimmage is good play for our first nine guys, but it's for our guys. Um, yeah, there's some guys on the street that could be start running game. So this let me say what Coach what he was saying here. This is a great comment as well. I know I ran way over my time, but this is a great comment as well. Let me get here. This is a great comment right here. There's a list of running backs on the street. Chubb, I don't like Chubb. I don't think Chubb hands is not as good. Nixon, yeah. Nick Harris, yes. Mostef, yeah. Eckler, no, Eckler is retired, I think. I don't know Eckler. Uh, listen, because there's these many guys on the market, right? You can listen. We don't listen because of this. This is the reason I say this, Coach. This is why I say this. Because of that, he's giving these guys an opportunity to earn the job. And if they can't earn the job and they feel that they just ain't earned the job, they can always turn these guys and pick these guys up and they'll fit right in. These guys are veteran enough to come in and fit right in to a system. They've been around playing long enough to fit. If they're coming in, and they're coming in to be a second guy. So that's what I mean. So that's when you listen when you with the stockpile when you the when you got a boneyard that's sitting over there and say, hey, we got a lot of guys sitting on the wedding and we can go over there and get them right now. No, you'd rather try to do these guys because you want to go younger. That's fine. If you can get these guys up, that's fine. We can go younger and we can be fine. But we're gonna give these guys an opportunity because your word has told them that you're gonna give them opportunity. So now they don't pan out, and we say we still don't like that. We can always go to these guys and get them. And for financial things, they probably ain't gonna try to go to these guys. They're gonna give these guys at least a couple of games because you're really trying to get past game 3. I think game 3 or game 4 before you sign some of these veteran guys, so we don't guarantee their money. You sign them before the veteran minimum. Whenever you sign, they're guaranteed to be paid the whole year because they're veterans. So, and then their price is a little higher right now. If you go get them now, they're gonna ask a little bit more because they know that you invested in it. Once you get them, if you go get them now, they know they're on the team, so they're gonna ask for a little bit more. So hey man, we got a couple of preseason games that it's not and yes, you're right. The running game is a stout running game is key. I think sometimes we got some of our content creators thinking that our passing game is so death-defying. When we struggle in the running game, they were like, "Don't force the running game. Just throw that thing around the yard against better teams." That's gonna be our downfall. And we have to be smart enough as a fan base to understand that balance is the key to making these guys in the passing game more dangerous. But we're not gonna be able to do that. We're not gonna be able to do that to our fan base. Our fan base is gonna be throw that thing in the air. They was like that when I was at the game in Green Bay. They're gonna be even more like that with these guys. So this one I'm depending on Shotty. Now, let's see. And see if Shotty is gonna be the one that's gonna keep this thing. This right here, man. Listen, man. Let's here, man. Flournoy has been playing very good football. There's nothing that Flournoy has done bad. Let's don't take yeah. Flournoy step when Flournoy had to show in those 2 games last year is because when his role went up. And when he stepped in his role and went up, there's only a certain amount of balls. You're not listen, when you playing with these 2 type of dogs out there, you ain't gonna get but so many balls you're gonna get. And if our third wide receiver, if Flournoy plays the most of the third wide receiver this year, he gets something like 60 catches, 62, 63 catches, 800 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. That's top three wide receiver stats. And this another stat that people don't understand. In his percentage of his 65 catches, right? If out of his 65 catches, how many of those catches he getting on third down? How many of those catches he getting for first downs on third down? I would like for his 65 catches to have a percentage of them, 25 to 30 of those are on third down for first down. That means 50% of his catches are on third down for first downs. If I can get that ratio, he is a third wide receiver that is tops in this league. Because now he's a third down option, and now he's getting those crucial first downs to keep drives going. And that type of guy is golden. I think, Coach, if you remember going back, there was a guy that does not get a lot of credit for the Dallas Cowboys' great years in Dallas. And Coach, see if you send this in the chat because you let you know you probably go back as far as me. Preston Pearson was key to our success in the 70s. People don't talk about Preston Pearson. Number 26, he was a running back. We got it from Pittsburgh. We have got some historical good guys from Pittsburgh in trades. I think Pittsburgh should never trade with us anymore. See, for all your Cowboy fans, y'all young Cowboy fans, I'm going to teach y'all some history. Pittsburgh should never trade with us anymore. We got Preston Pearson from Pittsburgh. At number 26, go look up Preston Pearson. Learn your history. Look up Preston Pearson. They used to call him Mr. Clutch. He'd be deadly on third down coming out the backfield. Preston Pearson was one of the greatest offensive players in Cowboys history. Preston Pearson. Preston Pearson. Now I know you remember that. Preston Pearson was a deadly guy. Number 26 for the Dallas Cowboys. Mr. Clutch. We also got Pickens from Pittsburgh. We also got Thomas Everett, the guy that got 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl. I enforced it. Know who Thomas Everett remind me of? Know who on this team remind me of Thomas Everett? That's why I say this team is starting to look so similar to the Cowboys, man. Know who remind me of Thomas Everett? Woods. Thomas Everett was a knockout guy. And I remember Jimmy getting it from Pittsburgh because he said he needed an enforcer back there in the secondary. And Thomas Everett was an enforcer. And then he could get around the ball, but Thomas Everett big and he was built like Woods. His biggest characteristic was Thomas Everett would put hits on him. And we said we needed an enforcer. And that's how we got Thomas Everett from Pittsburgh. And Woods reminds me of Thomas Everett. See, a lot of our Cowboy fans don't know our history. And Thomas Everett got 2 turnovers in that the first Super Bowl we won. First on the 4th down play, and then another interception in that Super Bowl game. Matter of fact, he could have been one of the guys who could have got MVP. Preston Pierce was a running back. Called him Mr. Clutch. You know how many catches Mr. Clutch got on 3rd down? That was his nickname, Mr. Clutch. 3rd down, he was gonna get a catch. He was one of the guys that invented the running back as a big time wide receiver. Preston Pierce from Pittsburgh. Running back. And he could run the football. But he came in on 3rd down. And you knew that he was probably going to get the ball. But Mr. Clutch. 3rd down, Preston Pierce. And Thomas Everett was a banger. Woods remind me of Thomas Everett. I like what I see in this Cowboy team, people. Y'all probably tell it in my voice. Keep the chemistry going. Young men, make your names, baby. Because as I know in Cowboy history, when Tony Toba got a chance to make his name, he made his name. When Ken Norton wasn't no Pro Bowler, when Ken Norton got a chance to make his name, he made his name. Yeah. Yeah, Preston Pierce played with Pittsburgh, and then we got him from Pittsburgh. Yeah. When Dan Smith, the linebacker, made his name in Dallas, he made his name. When James Washington had a chance to make his name, he made his name. When Thomas Everett had a chance to make his name, when people didn't think he had no name, he made his name. When Larry Brown made his name, when people thought, out of small school he made his name, he made his name. When people thought Tony Garcia was washed up because he was the 1st round draft pick, and then the Cowboys picked him, they said, oh, he was a bust. When he had to make his name, he made his name. Make your names, young men. We ain't got to go out there and worry about nobody else's names. We got guys going to make their names this year. Get on board, baby. Because I don't think Cherry's going to do anything. I just think they're stringing you along like a soap opera. That's good talking points. It's probably bringing some guys with a lot of clicks and views. I understand we talk about the politics. Yeah, there's been some politics. Some of the stuff we talk about politics is why? You think they that beholden to a guy who was a 5th round draft pick running back? Come on, man. Like he was a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. I hear people talking about, man, we need to move on from the guy that we spent. Everybody keep talking about. We gave up a 4th round draft pick for who's the guy we got with the receiver? Everybody act like that. We gave up a 4th round draft pick, like we just gave up a 1st round draft pick and gave him $9 million. Man, so what? It kills me when we think every guy that we pick on the team, if he don't work, it's a bust. Man, that happens all over the NFL, man. Every guy that you pick up or you take a chance on ain't gonna work. You tell me somebody perfect. A team. It's none. Why we worried about it? Why we make a big issue about it? Bingo. If that cut bingo, fine. It just ain't work. Oh well. The one thing Jerry worried about, he don't like to pay guys guaranteed money and they gone. That's on his problem is. I told y'all that what the main issue is. Y'all don't listen because he told you this a couple years ago when he talking about he don't like he think the NFL messed up when they paying GMs and and coaches they paying them salaries because they fired them they still got paid. He think that's a travesty. Jerry already tell you he one of those guys that he don't care about the salary cap hit of frivolous money, but he don't like writing a check every week to a guy and he done got rid of a guy off his team. He don't like that. So he rather you stay there the whole time till all the guaranteed money go, and then he'll get rid of you. I think that's a bad philosophy. Sometimes you got to cut bait, man, and lose that money and say, all right, well. But hold on to a guy till he make all his money because you don't want to pay him no check. That's why he held on Mike McCarthy. Lame duck, you could have fired Mike McCarthy the year before and paid him a little $5 million and been done with it. No, you want him to get every last penny and be in the building the whole time. That's the same thing he did with Jason Garrett. He want Jason Garrett to be in the building the whole damn time to earn every damn penny, and then he get rid of after all the checks gone. Come on, man. Y'all see this? Listen, they're doing stuff right in your face and showing you what they all about. But we still think they about something else. All kinds of stuff they talk about when they talk about. Watch what they do. What they do tell you what they are. Jared just don't like paying people. He don't like cutting people with money left on the books. Not salary cap money, actual payout money, guaranteed money. He don't care enough about the salary cap here. Some of that salary cap here is just numbers. They already worked the numbers out because okay, yeah, you got a dead money. The dead money don't mean that most of that dead money is non-guaranteed money. But when you got dead money and some of that dead money is actual $5 or $6 or $7 million, you still got to pay the player and he gone from your team, he signed someplace else, and you still writing him a check for $4 or $5 million down the year. No, Jerry ain't with that shit. That ain't what he ain't with that. He done told you he ain't with that. He ain't with that. So when y'all look at a player, y'all want to know if a guy getting cut, don't look at the salary cap here. Look to see how much money, guaranteed money they got left. If they ain't got no guaranteed money, their ass gone. But if they got $5 or $6 of guaranteed money left on it, yeah, start thinking about the politics. There ain't no politics. Jail don't pay people that ain't there. Check it out. And he get rid of you and he still got to pay you money. You really done messed up. He just like, I really want to get rid of you. Every coach here, he ain't fired but one coach is still under contract. Wade Phillips. Everybody else went to the end of their contract. Oh, I think he's gonna make this. I think Brown gonna make this roster. I think they're gonna keep 6 wide receivers. But you got to understand something else. This is an interesting comment. Let me get this comment here. This is a very interesting comment here because yeah, he ain't no real football guy. I mean, but Jared's not paying. He don't believe in paying people, and that's that old guard type stuff. They don't believe in paying people that ain't working. That's that oldness. They don't believe in giving you money and you ain't got no benefit. You not on the job. They don't believe in that. They don't even like paying people. Those are people that don't like to have maternity leave. Don't like to have the ladies go out on maternity leave because they feel that if we don't if we paying you, you got to be doing something. They don't believe in paying people that ain't working. That's Jerry. Jerry told everybody that, and he mean that, and and he really mean that from the bottom of his heart. He don't like doing that. So if you look, if you got a guy on this team that got a lot of guaranteed money, yeah, you better believe Jerry gonna hold on to that guy until they get every penny out. Look what they did with these. They been wanting to cut these. I'm gonna say this right quick. They been wanting to cut these. First, they took the $500,000 from them because they talk about what they. When they start doing that, they already telling you they trying to recoup some of their money. So they took that $500,000. They still owe them $9 million. So they took $500,000 back, and they kept them on this damn roster all the way up to the last week. Back when just about all their checks were gone, and then they cut it. They could have cut him a long time ago, but guess what? Jerry said, I ain't cutting nobody that I still owe no money. We'll keep him around. That just shows y'all right there. I've been trying to tell y'all that. And y'all and it's killing me. My people just act like they're blind, don't even see that. When they took the first 500,000, they will already tell you they didn't want him in. And I kept trying to tell you that he already knew that they didn't want him here. Now I kept trying to tell you that everybody come up, well, Diggs, no, it's really nice in that lot. Well, Diggs is trying to say all the right things. What would you say? You know the people don't want you here. They took $500,000 from you. You know they only gonna give you this $9 million, and they ain't gonna give you no extension. You ain't got no guaranteed money on there. They ain't even talking to you about no extension, and they treating you like they don't want you here. So you gonna be nice in the locker room? Y'all, man, y'all kill me with that, man. And y'all believe it? They probably hide some of the stuff that he was saying. Because guess what? I wouldn't have been nice. Some of y'all might talk about, oh, you know, I would have been like, man, anything we trying to do, I've been trying to destroy it. Hell no, I want to play man to man. I want to try to get paid. I don't want to play no zone. I'm trying to get an interception. I ain't tackling nobody. If I get hurt, well, I'm gonna give me a job someplace else. Y'all don't want me, and y'all think he would be a team player. He cares about no team. He cares about him. And that ain't. And listen, I ain't saying he was wrong, but that's how it was. And they held him hostage when he could have went early to somebody else to the last week of the season, just because they didn't want to let him go and pay him his rest of his money every Tuesday. That's crazy. Yeah, if Brown plays Saturday and shows out, he would make this roster. Brown's gonna make this roster. That the drafted guy, the Cowboys don't cut drafted guys, and he's showing some that the receiver they drafted in the 7th round, they're gonna keep him on the roster. They're gonna keep 6 wide receivers. Don't be shocked. Let me tell you something else. I think we're talking about who we're gonna keep and stuff like that. There's a lot of football left in training camp. There's 2 more preseason games, people, right? There's a lot of training camp practices left that's going to be tough in training camp. There's going to be some injuries. They kind of a framework what they want to do, but if it's somebody they like that they get hurt, they make a stash a guy because they can put them on injured reserve. We hadn't even started putting the 8. I think you put 7 or 8 guys on injured reserve. We hadn't even started putting guys on the injured reserve yet. There is going to be some injuries, people. This is football. This is how it goes. So they'll start really. Some people that we think that they can't keep, they may be able to keep them because they might be put on injured reserve. They may be able to stash it. Moffa might be a way for them to keep him as a injured reserve guy for, and that open a thing for they can keep another running back, and as well keep Moffa if they think Moffa is that guy. So again, when guys get, there's guys gonna get hurt. They're playing physical football. They know guys are gonna get hurt, and that's how they're going. Smith who? Which Smith is going to the going to go to on IR for the season? Smith who? Which Smith you talking about? Moffa's going on IR. Which Smith you was talking about? And the reason why they put Moffa on the IR, so that because they want to keep up, and IR is almost like a practice squad. And it's two type of IR you can put them. You can put them on the IR. They're gonna keep him out for 6 weeks, and then they're reevaluating. He might be on the IR, but again, um, okay, the rookie Smith. Okay, oh, you talking about the wide receiver Smith? Okay, yeah. So it's a numbers game, and I think sometimes we don't realize the numbers game when you talk about the back end of the roster. Sometimes we get caught up in our feelings about we can just go get guys and get more guys and stuff like that. But it's a numbers game. This is not like college where you can have 85, 90 guys and you can stash guys. There's only a certain amount. I think you get 55 and 15, 70 guys, and other people are looking at your players too. So sometimes you may see some guys, you saying, why this guy's not getting more time than the other guy? Where's the reason? Woods might not be getting time. Listen here. Woods might not be getting time in the first two strings. Why? Why y'all think that? Why? Because some of y'all thinking that because Woods is not playing really well, that's why he's not getting. We got the other guys in front of him, and y'all say, man, he should be getting more time in the first string, the first two strings. No, it ain't. We don't want you to think other teams that Woods is highly thought of. We want you to think he on the back end of the roster. We want to give him some plays, right? We really want you to think, want you to think that we think really highly of Marquise Bell. We really want you to think we think really highly of Carson. Because if you want to come to Carlin, we'll give you Carson or Marquise Bell for a 6th-round draft pick. Because what we really want is the guys that play behind. It's a game, man. When you're in the back of your roster, you got to play games. Because what? Other people got eyes on your roster, people. You can't keep everybody. Some people got to try to slide through. Some people got to hide. Some people got to finagle to get around. Other people watching. That's why I think sometimes as our job as new content creators, we get a little overzealous when we be giving all the goods. Sometimes we gotta say, okay, yeah. And I think our Cowboy organization be trying to calm us down a little bit, but we be they be like, wait, don't yeah, so loud. We know you playing good, yeah. Keep quiet. So because you got the safety with Caleb Downs, this defense is gonna be listening. And your safeties play corners. You're gonna keep. They're probably gonna keep a little less corners and more safeties because Caleb can play safety, can play the slot corner, and that's where you're gonna be. They're gonna keep a vast amount of safeties. Right now, I know they're gonna keep Thompson's. I think they're gonna keep the guy that number one. They're gonna keep Caleb Downs. They're gonna keep Woods. I believe all your old guard safeties are out of this room. They're gone. The whole safety room is gonna be changed out. I don't see Hooker or Marquise Bell making this team. Marquise Bell is gonna be suspended for the first couple games because remember he still got that driving under influence with that stuff. He still got that case. And everybody don't forget about that. That case still looming. And I don't think Hooker. I think Hooker's going into coaching somewhere. So, and listen, they're trying to stay ready, but ready probably a guy they're gonna try to keep on practice squad. And you see what Reddy they try to put Reddy to safety corner because they think Reddy has got a good potential, but it's a log jam. See, we can talk about this is what we this is why I tell people in church is making some great points here because church was talking about Reddy and church making some great points, but this is and both of the coaches making some great points too. But this is the problem you have, and this is why I try to tell people when we talk about Reddy. Well, CP doesn't like, yeah. Um, but this is the problem what we have here. And yeah, CP don't like for y'all to have all these practices for everybody to be showing all these practices. I understand where that because CP know he got sometimes they want to be, CP probably has not been in an organization where it's been in such a spotlight. And CP wants to be more secluded. When you think about some of the guys CP don't work for, they're kind of guys that like to keep stuff close to the vest. They ain't one of the guys like being in the spotlight. That's the thing you're gonna be when you work at Dallas, you're gonna be in the spotlight. So he has to learn that. That's a different thing for him. But there's a lot of talent in Dallas, man. A lot of coaches tell you there's a lot of talent in Dallas. So you got to be very. It's a game on the end of that back end roster. There's a lot of guys you like. There's guys that we are looking at other teams that we see that we may think that can be a help to our team on our back end of our roster. It's a ever changing thing. And everybody's looking at everybody. And see, since everybody's holding players all the way to 90 players, all the way to the for the opening game, and it's all cut at one time. You got a lot of guys out there looking. You got people scouting you right now, scouting your players now, and we're helping them out with the scouting because we so open with our damn training camp. The hell, they ain't got to send the damn scout to the damn thing. They ain't got to do a turn on the YouTube channel and they can see all the god doggone stuff without even going to our training camp. And then they listen to talk about everybody and get the run. They get the rundown on everybody before they even come. We give them all the information. They ain't got to do nothing. So that's what I'm saying, man. Sometimes you got to be, and it's a numbers game. I understand the numbers game. I know it's a numbers game, and sometimes you just can't go out and just get this guy, get that guy, get this guy, man. That just ain't, that's just, we talk about salary cap. No, this ain't smart football. It's a really funny numbers game when you get on that back end. There's a lot of wheeling and dealing, and there's a lot of trying. So it's a lot of pressure on, and you got to make some decisions on some guys. Y'all talk about politics. It can be politics. Sometimes it's how it works out. I don't think they like the guys. Yeah, they invested in the guys they drafted. There's a reason why they picked these guys. I don't think if you was in that situation, you would like the people. If this is the guy you picked, that's just like if you get hired for a job. The guy that you like for the job you hired, your job is to do whatever you can. I've learned that in the supervisor position. When you hire somebody, right? It's your job. If this is the person that you hired and you like them, it's best for you to do everything possible for them to be able to be successful. I keep going back. I go back to that's why I keep trying to tell Boss Cowboy. He done taught me a lot. Boss said this, and I thought about this, and I said I believe that too. He said it's best never get in a position when people betting against you. Never take a job with somebody betting against you. Because you take a job with somebody betting against you, they looking for you to fail. The Cowboys don't pick nobody that they bet against. So they're trying to make sure that they uncover everything about it because they say they want to be. And that's okay. Sometimes they go too far. Sometimes they give up too fast. That's just the nature of the game. But when they say they like their players, what the hell they supposed to say? Because they have lit up on some guys that turn out to be better. they have went over the board with some guys that turn out not to be good. Thank you, sir. All the way from Italy, man. Appreciate you, man, for being in the show, man. Man, listen, Coach Marv has got people watching all the way from Italy. I got a brother that came in from Italy. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming into the chat, man. I hope you like, comment, share. I hope you listen to the content, man. It's keeping you company in Italy, man. I hope you like, subscribe, man. Become a member and push that notification so every time I come on, you'll be able to see it and be able to get my shows and join in the fun with us. Thank you so much, sir. But it's a crapshoot on the back end, man. So you got to play that role, man. I like our guys. I like this team, man. I like this team coming together, playing as a unit is going to be more important than we got enough talent. Just coming together. Tell you, man, guys going to make some names. Just like Seattle guys made some names. There's some guys that budding on the right thing. The days of guys going 3 years to be able to show it's everything to move up. If old coach could say that, y'all should believe in that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you subscribing. If I can say that, because I think development and guys taking the time developing. No, I know that ain't true, man. Guys now are expected to develop fast. Year two supposed to be their year to pop. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I have talked to some people in that room that was in that room. They love Donovan Izaraku. And for Donovan Izaraku to play like he played with a torn labrum in his hip and not sit out not one game tells you that he played with discomfort and still played well. Not great, but well. Tell y'all something, man. What will I tell you about that guy? I'm telling you. And know who one of his biggest supporters? The guy that they signed for about $103 million. Got to say that guy's gonna be the guy. Duh. So y'all can be out there trying to throw guys off the boat for other guys. But in the locker room, guys supporting guys. That's important if guys get invested in guys. I understand what y'all saying when you talking about getting other guys. But when guys in the locker room see stuff in guys and see them getting there and they invest in them and you bring somebody else in, they better be over the top because if they falter any bit, you'll kill the whole locker room. Yeah. And you kill the locker room, it's hard, man. It's hard to win when you win together. I can tell you got to be quiet, boys, but you got to be on the same page for the same stuff. Let's build this chemistry. Let's build this team. One step at a time. I went over long today. I didn't say I was gonna go 2.5 hours, but I did, man. I enjoyed myself because I got to start. So I hope you learned some stuff that in this live stream because we went over a lot of stuff. Hope you go back and watch it. If you didn't see the whole show, hope you go back and watch it because there's some very good nuggets that you'll learn in here. That's really good coaching material about continuity, about intangibles, and all those things that are very, very important to being what Von Miller's not even needed here. Is Rock better than Von Miller right now today? What we talking about Von Miller for, man? Von Miller, no campaign for Von Miller to be in Dallas. Von Miller. That's who campaign to be in Dallas. We're gonna bring a Von Miller here. Listen, I can tell you like this. I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this from a, and this, you can just look at his numbers. If you give Houston the same snaps you give Von Miller, Houston will average 9 to 10 sacks every year. The guy averages 6 sacks a year and half the snaps that these other guys get. And he only do, but every time you watch him, he only getting pressure. Now, is he a full defensive end? Is he a guy that we want him on the field on a 40, 50 snap basis? No. No. But Gary and Izaraku, watch how they play the run. Watch how they play the pass. And they had the same amount of snaps. Same amount of sacks. But he had a couple more. And then I keep saying this. If he was worth being in Dallas, why he not still in Washington? They ain't got no defense ends. Everybody think about that. And he ain't expensive. Why is he not back in Washington? Clowney is not, see, I get Clowney is not back in Dallas because they don't want traditional defensive ends. Tell me a traditional defensive end they have on their roster. If they had one of the traditional defensive end, I would say, well, you're right. I don't know why they didn't go get Clowney. He could. He doesn't want. Oh, so he don't want to play in Washington. 30 other teams out there that needs it. Chicago they don't have no pass rush. So just because he playing one and playing Dallas, that means he's ready. The only we talk about Von Miller because it's his name. If Von Miller didn't have that name and he had the same thing when we talk about Von Miller. I tell you, man, that name thing has really got our fan base. We the only fan base like that. We the only fan base like that. If it's a name, and guys know if they're name, just say I want to play for the Cowboys, and it's hooked up. I guarantee you. If this was this team last year, I said I would be. It would be no doubt. Um, if we were team with this, if this was this team last year, it'll probably be no doubt that they'll probably have Von Miller will probably be here because there was no direction. Is no direction. Is no direction. This is the craziest thing about. This is the crazy thing. I want to say this, and this is what we need to understand this. And I love Von Miller, and I love Bobby Wagner. And I want y'all to think about this. We say the Rams are the guys that go after people, right? Rams are the ones that go make big moves. They have no problem going and getting guys, the Rams, right? Then we say that. We always say Rams are the guys that go out, they go out and go get people. And we talking about the Rams make big power moves and they go get guys, and the Rams do make big moves. They went and got Myles Garrett. The Rams are the guys that make moves. Why did the Rams get rid of Von Miller? And he wasn't expensive. Why the Rams got rid of Bobby Wagner and let Bobby Wagner go? He wasn't expensive because they knew they were done. just like they got rid of Cooper Kupp. They could see through Odell Beckham. But none of us could see through Odell Beckham. But they knew Odell Beckham wasn't Odell Beckham anymore. And then when he got hurt, that was a definite say that was it. Yeah, he done. Yeah, but I need a defense. I need a defense. I need a player. I don't need pass. See, this is what we do. We talking about we just need pass rushers. And this defense is made off guys that can play the outside that can be complete football players. And if you putting the guy out there that's a specialty guy, you can get guys just like Von Miller made his name. There's guys that make their name every day. I'll say it like this: if he was that valuable, it would be a bigger market out there for him. You think if the guy was that good, if he was that good, we think he was that good, his name was that perceived itself, he would have a bigger market out there. You know something? We found out that Stephon Gilmore was a very good defensive back, and he was a very good corner, and he still could play. People say he still could play, but it dried up because people understood who he was. But that's hey, it'll be good. We got Von Miller. That would be a love. Everybody would love the name of Von Miller. And if Von Miller came in, if he did less than anybody else, we would not say a word. If he came in and didn't get a sack, we would still say he Von Miller, and we'll say that's what he's supposed to do. And that would be a great thing for that would be a great name for us. But see, I remember when Tony Tolbert, nobody liked Tony Tolbert. He made a name for himself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Marlins is the last resort. And I'm trying to figure out what is the last what is the last resort? What is the last? And I'm trying to figure out. See, this is the biggest problem. People think that and this is and I know Coach Parker just because if he did the research and I know if he did the research, he found out he said pass rush they never hurt us last year. Not when guys throwing not 90, we had a league average of 70% of the completions going less than the ball in the air less than 11 yards, less than 10 yards. Yeah, you ain't get. I don't care what you can have all Miles Garrett's in the game. If they getting the ball out of their head, then the ball ain't traveling in the air, and you ain't got and guys ain't putting the ball down. They getting the first read, and they don't feel no confused. You ain't gonna never get to the quarterback. That's just simple math. And you have guys arguing with that all the time. You have guys come from the back in the front end and say, damn, man, make the man hold the ball a little bit so we can get a chance to get to the guy. And then the back end sometimes be like, God, man, can y'all get to the guy? The guy hold the ball for 7 or 8 seconds and guy doing double, triple moves. Work hand in hand. Yeah, he might be better, but I don't think he better than Israel. And I don't think he's better than Gary at this particular time. And I don't think he's better than neither one of them in a 3-4 because I don't think Von Miller's a 3-4 outside linebacker. This is the thing about this, man. These guys, this is why this man don't want to. These guys, if you watch their, I watched the one tape I watched them doing the drills. The drills they do are outside linebacker type of drills. That's the coach they got. He got an outside linebacker to coach. But we are in this mind of saying we want to be 3-4. And Vaughn at this particular point in his career, he going straight forward. Vaughn is he's not you on You ain't gonna tell a guy at that time, at his stage of his career, that you want him to to carry a tight end. And I saw that yesterday. I don't think a lot of people picked up on that when our defensive end, our outside linebackers weren't always coming. They was carrying the tight end down and playing the two gap responsibility with the tight end. They was actually jamming the tight end and playing it like you playing the two gap, and they weren't coming. They weren't coming for it all the time. And that's a part of the 3-4 outside linebacker. And then they have what we call a start. Where if it's a play action pass, they jam and ride the tight end, and then they got started. They blitz up from a standstill spot. And most of the time when they blitz in that standstill spot, they're doing mostly containing. Yeah, that's a quiet skill. I don't think they really worried. I think that the Parker feel that they're gonna be able to get in the pressures that he's looking for is not from the outside. If you looking for anything, he feel that he's gonna be able to get pressure from the up the middle, which is the most important part of the pressure package anyway. So, and if he a Dick Fangio type of guy, Vic Fangio didn't care about no outside pass rushers. Not guys that this was strictly pass rushers. Fangio didn't really respect those guys that this was strictly pass rushers. You see, we forget. See, we forget when Fangio came to Philadelphia the year they won Super Bowl. They traded Hassan Reddick. Y'all remember that? Remember they traded Hassan Reddick? Y'all remember that? DeFangio came in, and the first person they traded was Hassan Reddick. The guy that got 10, 11 sacks. Some people was comparing Hassan Reddick to Michael Parsons, talking about he was a better pass rusher than Michael Parsons. Remember that? And then they won a Super Bowl. You think our Cowboy fans would have took that? Y'all think y'all would have been able to trade a guy like Hassan Reddick, the defensive coordinator coming in and traded Hassan Reddick and then win the Super Bowl? Y'all think y'all could take that? Y'all think y'all would have been? No, y'all shucks. Y'all lost y'all mind. But guess what? Fangio say he don't fit my style of defensive end. He didn't want to play the run. So guess what? I could find a guy that we could get multiple guys to get to the quarterback. We'll find ways to get to the quarterback. I need some guys that are going to stop the run and get better at defense. I respect him on that. And I think Parker's in the same boat. He want guys that can play defense. I think he's happy with what he got. Because I think he's going to, and as he showed yesterday, you got multiple people getting to the quarterback. Oh yeah, they still crazy about Michael Parsons. And at times gonna tell about Michael Parsons. He don't play the run no better than he played in Dallas, but he got an excuse. I tell you, man, listen, man, there's no way possible. I say this again, man. I've always said Michael Parsons had the ability to be 135 tackles. I said it 5, 10, 100 times. 17 tackles, 3 interceptions. Because if he would have stayed in his known position, he could have been dominant in dominating football. But he done got caught up in the world and said, "Oh, if you rush the passer, that makes you a football player, and that makes you the most important thing on the defense." But every defense, and this is the ironic thing. And I was talking to somebody about this. We can promote certain things, but it's ironic that every defensive coordinator from the history of defensive coordinators, all the way up to now, if you ask every defensive coordinator says, if you don't stop the run, you can't stop nothing. But everybody tells you that guys that can rush the passer are the most important guys. Tell me how that makes sense. And most of you guys that are premier pass rushers struggle. And I watched how many teams where we have had guys that just had 10 sacks, but multiple guys with 6 and 7 sacks, and they call their defense dominant. We are so in tune to push passing lead to everybody because that's what fantasy football like. But the physicality of the sport and the teams that are able to control the run and consistently run the football, usually, and the people that are able to defend totally, usually are the teams in the end that's playing for Super Bowls. Usually are the teams at the end in college football that's playing for national championships. Just because of the masses do something, but don't win big time. And the few that does it are at the top. We chase the narrative of the few. It's not just like that in football. It's like that in basketball. I tell you, I went to the AAU thing for the big AAU tournament for high school basketball players in North Augusta, South Carolina. The biggest AAU tournament for Nike, the finals, the Peach Jam. And I sat up there with some coaches, and some of the coaches said to me, said, Coach, because I was saying, what about the mid-range game? The guys with the mid-range game. And you know what they said? They told me, they said that the guys that have the mid-range game are the elite of the elite. They the best of the best. But he said, that's only a small amount that are elite. The rest of them don't want a mid-range game. I said, they don't copy the elite guys? He said, no. They'd rather be three-point shooters or dunkers. But the elite guys are the guys that got the whole package in the mid-range. But everybody don't strive to be the elite. They strive to be like the rest. That's the same thing I'm talking about in the NFL. Everybody strives to be what everybody like to say. But there's a few teams that know defense, shutting the run down, being able to have a physical presence, win championships. And the reason why they can dominate for so long, because they do that while the rest of the fans, the rest of the teams, chase what everybody like to hear. That's why the Georgias, the Alabamas, stay at the top. The Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, they can get rid of wide receivers and still win championships. They even went and got a Super Bowl MVP running back now. They're going to get even more physical. The San Francisco 49ers may not win those Super Bowls, but I'm in championships and championship games that have been in the last 5 or 6 years. The Eagles, defense and the running game, look at me, they've been two Super Bowls. The Baltimore Ravens keep a dominant team every year. Sometimes top in the league. Houston Texans is now one of the dominant teams of it. The teams that do that with the physicality, they stay at the top. But all your losing teams, chuck that thing in the air. Don't care nothing about defense, chuck it in the air and get all the fancy numbers, and everybody love them. And they talk about how good they are, but they have no substance. Because most of the fan base love fantasy football. You know, fantasy football don't have no physicality component in it. Don't judge that. They don't get no points. So we think those people think it's not important. You know why people love the defensive end so bad much? You know why most people want Michael Parsons to go to defensive end and not linebacker? Because nobody played with the linebacker on John Madden. The linebacker don't get that bigger ratings on John Madden. Hopefully the Cowboys gonna understand, like they have always done. If you've been a Cowboy fan for the longest, we're one of the most historic franchises in football, not just for our championships, but how many Super Bowls we have been in, how many division championships we have been in, how many AFC championships we have been in. Even though we hadn't been in none in 30 years, we still lead those divisions, lead in the top of those appearances. But we only got those appearances with having a top 10 defense every time we got no big games and a top 3 running game. And we don't put quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. We'll put wide receivers in the Hall of Fame. We have been known to have explosive offenses. We have put a lot of offensive players in the Hall of Fame. But we have won our championships because we can bust people miles defensively. And we can run the football. So if you think you're going to do it different than your DNA, keep trying. Seattle went back to their DNA and they won a Super Bowl. So keep trying to think you're going to do it, throwing the ball around the field, chasing the quarterback and not stopping the run. Keep on trying to do it that way. And it'll be another 30 years. Get back to your DNA as who you are, Cowboy fans. Learn your history. And you just might get back to be dominant like we was. My time has been on here too long, but y'all have helped me vent. Remember, no one or nothing can stop God's will. No one or nothing can stop God's will, man. And discernment. This is about, this ain't about sports, but discernment. Know what's fake and what's real. Understand what's fake and what's real. And the only way you're going to understand what's fake and what's real is you're going to have to go to the source. The source that our Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior, He is the answer to give you the discernment you need to figure out anything you want in your life. Not just no football, this your life, about people, situations. And in the football arena, let's get behind our team. Because we got a damn good team. I ain't saying not stay on their case. I appreciate we turn over every rock and we stand on their case. I want you to do that. But I want you to understand. I want you to understand. I don't want us to be a distraction. Cause focus. I don't hear nobody talk about team unity. I don't hear nobody talking about it like we playing like we together. That confidence. But you'll hear about it from here. Coach Marv will keep that in face, and we're going to keep going down those roads. On to the next big event, Tuesday. The New Orleans Saints come in town. And see if we can go to work. Cowboy fans, but Cowboy coaches. Cowboy players. Good job on yesterday. Keep your mind on your work. Just get a little bit more discipline on these penalties, too. But keep your mind on your work.